the Green Party. 0800 731 2000. 0800 731 2000. And we're also talking about housing, which of course is connected because all those builders come from Europe. So has Sadiq Khan done a good job on housing? That is a question that I do want to ask our next guest, and that is the Green Party's Sian Berry, who's in the studio with me, who's launched her campaign to become Mayor of London. Now, she's accused the current Mayor of paying lip service to the climate emergency and a 2030 target. She thinks Sadiq Khan fails to be green when it matters by backing business as usual. Good morning, Sian.
Good morning.
Right. So obviously, as the Green Party, you're going to go after his green credentials. He will argue, of course, that he's brought in the ULEZ and all of these different things. He's going to get rid of older cars on the roads, he's going to extend the ULEZ, all of those things. He would say he's done a brilliant job.
Well, I've been on the London Assembly for all of the time that the current mayor has been in City Hall. And all the way through that, we've been pushing him to go further on all these issues. For example, the ultra-low emission zone. He's proposing to put that only up to the north and south circulars. And that means that everybody in London who lives outside of those areas isn't going to be protected by the ultra-low emission zone. There are hotspots in town centres, on busy roads, all the way through outer London. They're getting no help from the mayor at all.
So you just want that extended?
There was no sense in not making it London-wide when you extended it.
M25, and I think up to the M25.
The same as the low emission zone that's for lorries at the moment, for example. The cameras are already on the edge of London doing that work. We could have set that up, and he didn't. And I think he tried to compromise. There were people who were against extending it at all. Some of the Conservatives, for example. And I think
to be
he
fair,
thought
some of the public
he would
who don't want to
compromise
lose
and
their
go
cars, who
for a
can't
middle.
afford to buy a new car.
Well, that's a separate issue, is helping people to switch away from cars. We have to do that for a whole load of reasons. Get out of petrol and diesel, get people into the cleanest possible cars. And many people in outer London are seeing, for example, no improvements to their bus services, some cutbacks to bus services. People in central London have seen cuts to bus services. It was promised that those buses would go to outer London. That hasn't happened. So there are things the current mayor is not doing that would make a huge difference to people's lives, would make a difference to the climate emergency. And in some cases, he's going backwards. He's building the £1 billion Silvertown road tunnel, for example. We were begging him recently not to sign the contract for that, to fetter the next mayor to keep that contract going.
Well, he might be the next mayor.
He's going to make, well, hopefully I'm going to be the next mayor.
He might be the next
and he's
mayor.
made it very difficult for me to cancel that project now because he signed a giant PFI contract. It's not what you expect out of the greenest mayor, and we do need to vote for the greenest possible mayor, which is me, in order to make these problems get better permanently.
But also, it's got to be a popular idea that is going to be backed by the people. Sadiq Khan doesn't see you as a threat.
Do not.
Sadiq Khan does not see you as a threat. He said it's a two-horse race. So you're obviously not a horse in the race that he's caring to either back or watch.
The mayor is being very disingenuous there, and clearly by trying to paint it as a two-horse race, he is clearly threatened by challengers like me. He's made a big pitch yesterday to Green voters on the grounds that it's a two-horse race, but actually it isn't at all. He's failing to understand the voting system. It's not first past the post, which is baked into that metaphor of two-horse race. It is in fact a vote where you have two votes, and you can vote for your actual first preference, vote with your heart, with your first vote with no risk at all, because you have a second vote, which is your insurance. Yeah, so last time I got the most second preference votes of any candidate. I'm absolutely the clear second favourite in this race, and people can vote for me without fear at all.
To quote ABBA, the winner takes it all. So second preference really doesn't make you mayor.
I'm the most popular amongst the most people. I got the most votes out of anybody for for first or second.
Let's be honest, the Green Party doesn't tend to do extremely well in elections of any kind. Whether you're second or not, it doesn't matter, you don't win. So what about the people think that you're just green? Look, why am I going to bother? This woman's going to have windmills at the end of my street. She's going to have me walking everywhere, going to take my car off me. She's going to ruin London, put more bicycle lanes in, and I'm a driver, a professional driver. I don't want this green nonsense. What else are you going to give to those people who say, I don't want more cycle lanes ruining London? What are you going to say to them?
Well, people need to look at, if you think we're just about green issues, people do need to look at our record on the London Assembly. We've been there for 20 years. We absolutely led the way on, for example, the London living wage. People who are paid the London living wage now, they have Greens on the London Assembly forcing that into Ken Livingstone's policies many years ago to thank. And the things I've worked on since I was elected
So you're a good
include, for
campaigning
example,
party. You're not
youth
running the country,
services. We've managed to get £70 million out of the current mayor for youth services through our work, exposing the many cuts that councils have had to make to youth services across London and finding the money in the City Hall budget and getting it put towards that.
Maybe that's your place. Maybe it's to be that campaigning arm of the Assembly. We need that, don't we? Surely. And it's important, and the Lib Dems would fall into the same category, presumably. But to actually run the greatest city in the world... Can you do that?
Absolutely. We are completely ready to do that. But also, like you point out, on the Assembly, we have been the most effective opposition for many years now. And certainly in the last 4 years, there are 3 things in the current mayor's list of achievements that he likes to talk about, which are things he wasn't doing or was doing the opposite of until we got involved and started putting pressure on him. And remember, people do have a vote that's proportional for the London Assembly, and we do really well in proportional elections in London. In the European elections, for example, there we got over 12% in London, like we did across the country. These are places where people's votes really can count. And the vote for mayor is one where you can vote with your heart first without any kind of risk. And if people want to cast that vote for a greener London, a fairer London, one where we've got fairer rents and more youth services.
You've just managed to put yourself and the Greens down. Well, you have, because you said, oh, well, if you want to do that, go follow your heart. It's no risk to do so. I mean, what you're basically saying is that you're a heart, not a head party. You'd be a heart, not a head mayor. By your own mouth.
But if people voted with their hearts, they'd soon see results on the ground from the Greens.
It doesn't sound
fact that we've been able to get so much out of the current mayor, just using our influence, just using our ability to look through the GLA budget and find money for things that matter to people, like youth services, like warmer homes, like, for example, in next week's budget, we're putting forwards plans for toilets on the tube. You cannot use the toilet on most tube stations. This needs to be corrected. We've found the money to start to make that happen. But if you had a Green mayor like actually running the levers of power within City Hall, we'd be getting all of this done much, much sooner. Whenever we try and get the mayor to do something, it always takes at least a year before he does it, and people shouldn't have to wait for the right things to be done.
Well, I just don't think you want this on your anywhere in your advertising. Vote for us with no risk as you have another vote. Never say that again, Sian.
Oh, people really do need to pay attention to how the voting system works, because people voted last time. 10% of people voted for the same person twice.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying, probably not the right message. Now, let's talk about housing, because we are discussing that today, and presumably you have something to say about that because you want to take votes off Sadiq Khan. Has he done well on housing?
We haven't seen the progress we should have, particularly not on proper affordable housing, which is not things
and
like
how many do you want?
Shared ownership. The need within London is for about 2/3 of the homes we build to be properly affordable.
Council.
And social housing or living rent, which is 1/3 of incomes. And we need about over 60,000 homes a year to be built. And we are currently not managing that within London. I think...
Could we ever manage that, though? I mean, look, it seems that these targets are set. We're having an argument earlier on about starting numbers as opposed to finishing numbers. Starting numbers high, finishing numbers woefully low. They're just not coming on board. So what are Londoners meant to think when they're sitting there in squalid conditions or paying 2/3 of their wages in rent? They don't want to hear any more blah, blah, blah. They want action.
Yeah, and I think where the mayor's currently fallen down is in relying too much on big developers and not focusing more effort on the smaller sites around London. In the London planning examination,
more expensive though, aren't
the
they,
inspectors... They threw out his plans for having more homes on smaller sites because he hadn't done the work to show that it was deliverable. And I think we do need more effort and more detailed work by the mayor to try and bring forwards with local communities some of these smaller sites and to diversify the housing market away.
What's
from
your number one
giant
priority when you become mayor? Let's be positive. When you become mayor, what would be your number one priority? Because would it be housing? Would it be green? what is it? It has to be green, surely.
Well, Greens always look at things in the round, and we cannot divide social justice from environmental justice. And so we do need to be getting going straight away on a whole raft of things, including
what?
better transport, including clean air, including getting the power to set rent controls for London.
And getting
That's
rid of
something which
petrol
it
and
took the
diesel
mayor
cars.
3 years